In today's issue of Puck Magazine, we're going to be looking at a very interesting period in America's history.
To start off today's issue of the Puck, we have a satirical comic sent in. This comic shows a Sunday mass service at a so-called socialism church. This church shows that they're begging God and Eugene Debs, who they looked at hand in hand, to bring about the rise of socialism and peace. While they're being told, well, why don't you join World War I and fight for it? By 1912, the Socialist Party had formed, and presidential candidate at the time, Eugene Debs, had emerged. People blindly followed behind Debs and socialism teachings as the party gained traction among young people at the turn of the century. The enthusiasm was, however, cooled after the Espionage Act of 1917 made it illegal to oppose World War I, therefore curbing a good section of the legality of socialism's teachings.
In criminal news, justice was served to Sacco and Vanzetti in their trial in 1921. Niccolò Sacco and Bartolomeo Vanzetti were anarchists originally born in Italy who 100%, no doubt about it, murdered a guard. I repeat, there is no doubt about it in anyone's mind that this robbery and murder took place. It was rumored to have happened in Braintree, Massachusetts, in the United States. This was not controversial whatsoever, and the men were later electrocuted in an electric chair. There was definitely no bias based on the fact that the judge was anti-Italian and anti-immigrant, and anti-right political motives were suspected as having heavily influenced the verdict. Nonetheless, the trial stands and was 100% fair.
USRA, they're here to save the day. USRA, they're here to save the day. Paid for by the USRA, sponsored by USRA, aka United States Railroad Administration. Also paid for by the federal government. The reason that this ad is being brought to you today is that during World War I, the USRA, or the United States Railroad Administration, was tasked with the immense and troubling task of rebuilding America's railroads to industrial greatness so that goods could be more easily transported and shipped across the country in less time. The USRA did end up being successful in its cause, although this was due to lots of money being pushed in by the president and the federal government. There was no way that this could fail, as it was essential to the U.S. economy and wartime efforts that the railroads were rebuilt successfully.
Okay, we've got some real shocking news for you. Breaking news just in. With men away at World War II, new reports and studies have come out that women, while finally being allowed to do all of the jobs that men do while here, are perfectly fit to do them. That's right, as their husbands go away to fight, the women of America have no choice but to fill the men's roles. There were questions that were very serious about whether a woman could figure out something so complex as a man can. But shockingly, according to new sources and studies, women can do these jobs just as effectively, if not better. This is very helpful, as there were questions about, with all the men gone, who would fill the roles such as working in the factories, farming, or making ammunition for the boys at war. Don't worry though, American women are here to fill men's roles. As long as they can do it for 4 years and then go back to working in their house, we'll be just fine.
Come out 1902, the Oscars, featuring George Méliès. Los Angeles, California, top nomination, A Trip to the Moon. Now, although the actual Oscar awards didn't happen until 1929, if they were around during 1902, right at the turn of the century, director Georges Méliès would have ran away with Best Picture for his 18-minute film, A Trip to the Moon. Directors like Méliès helped usher in a new wave of films and a new style of filmmaking as a whole that brought people joy during what went down as a pretty sad and terrible time when lots of men and husbands and fathers were away at war fighting for their loved ones.
Heading over to travel news, we have an article called Forget Rome and Tokyo. It's all about Harlem. Yes, as time passes, the complete renaissance of Harlem has turned it into a social and artistic powerhouse. The widespread explosion of ideas and creativity in the heart of New York City's famed borough is truly magnificent. The art is so breathtaking, one citizen recalled that it will have you selling your summer home in Florida just for the chance to sniff the air in a Harlem apartment and experience the full reboot occurring to the slums of Harlem. The blacks have reimagined what it means to be an everyday American with new ideas and expressions of art that are ushering a new wave of culture here in New York's famed borough. Here at the offices of Gregor Mendel, where he discovered that genes are real, they pass down traits. A religious figurehead is shown showing his son to stick to mining and don't end up like this idiot, since science is fake. Yes, that's right. Right after the turn of the 20th century, in 1909, scientist Gregor Mendel presented a theory that at the time was nearly unheard of and heavily scrutinized. As he looked at the pea plant, he couldn't help but conclude that genes come in pairs and are either dominant or recessive traits. The artwork portrays that people were completely blinded by religion and ignored such teachings, as the father is shown showing his kid to do. People like this are the reason that scientific ideas today are still being refuted, even though for people like Mendel, it was right there all along. To round out this issue of Puck Magazine, we have some news from the dry states. Alcohol kills. Yes, that's right. As released by the very level-headed and fair dry states, all alcohol is mind-rotting and soul-condemning. Oh wait, before we go, we have one new announcement from the wet states. Alcohol is fine. Buy it all. Yes, that's right. In a contradicting report, the wet states have said that they are always right and that since they need the tax money, alcohol is legal and they are in full support and the sale helps out everyone. Thank you, and that is all. Thank you for listening to another issue of Puck Magazine. I hope you enjoyed. If you'd like to see my sources, please keep watching for about another 5 seconds and the website links will pop up. Thank you and stay tuned for next issue. And here's the source list. I'm going to hold this up here for maybe 10 seconds. I hope that you enjoyed this issue of Puck Magazine and that you subscribe and come back next time. Thank you.